Hey, Cookster here, and welcome to another video. Thought I would just focus on one area that I think a lot of people don't really know about, at least the people that aren't experienced body men. That's the area that can get you messed up if you don't know what you're doing, and that's called feather edging. Most people can pick up a block and learn how to block sand once they've done it and tried it and saw somebody, talk about doing the crisscross and don't sand like this. What they don't understand and they don't know about is feather edging. But if you've ever seen a car that's been painted and the car looks like it's got a bunch of golf balls, and I'm not talking about dents, I'm just talking about highs and lows, and you can see ripples, and those are what makes those bumps. And we used to call them buttholes in the body shop world I came from. Let me show you a couple of really good examples. So what happens here, you're filling your dents in, you got your filler in here, and you use a block, you're pretty good with the block, you block sand, and you get this filler flat. And then out here on the edge, this is where we call feather edging. It's where the filler feathers into the original metal. Now, for lots of reasons, this is black epoxy primer if you don't know. You can wipe filler on top of epoxy primer, and I recommend that for anybody doing this kind of work, unless you're in a body shop. One of the many advantages of that, you can see where you're feathering, you can see your filler feathering into the primer. So you get these nice, well, there's sand scratches. It's a nice feather edge, and you do this a few times, you learn how to see it, how to identify it. Here's a spot where it did not feather. See that harsh line and the dark spot in the primer? That's a low spot because it's where it didn't feather. You got a high spot, and a low. Out here you can see a little bit of a dark spot. This is a little bit low. Now, again, I'm a body man. I can use my hand to fill dents, and you can do it too. It takes practice. I can read the filler with my eyes, and I can feel it with my hands. That's a little low right there. That's a little dark spot. So this, and we got a little spot right there. So this area right here is 90% feathered in across this panel. In other words, it comes in, the filler comes in, and it gets to the panel, and it's just flat and feathers right in. As opposed to over here, on this side, I can feel a little dip right here all the way up. And you can see it where it's still kind of dark. Now, I was a little bit aggressive right here with my sander and sanding some of the primer off. But you can see this dark, especially right here, that dark area, all the way through up here, and I can feel it. This is all still low, and that's where the filler came in to this spot here. Our median point, our panel height is actually here, and in the middle, those two middle areas, it's still sunk in. That's where the guy that doesn't know what he's doing, he'll block this, he'll say, that feels really good, and not know about feather edging. And then you're going to wind up painting it, and you're going to have a big butthole. That's what we call a butthole, right there. So you've got to learn. It takes experience, it takes practice, but you've got to learn to feather edge to make your body work look good. So what I got to do now, I've got to skim a coat of filler over here, and don't try to do just this band, because all you're doing there is making more work for yourself. What's going to happen if you wipe the filler just in right here? When you're trying to sand this in and feather it, you're going to actually dig a trench right here and make it even worse. So that's where a lot of guys, you see all those cars with the buttholes everywhere. That's when they've done their, willy-nilly sanding and don't really understand what they're doing. And they wind up sanding a bunch of holes in it and don't realize it. So in this case, you skim from the very edge, and I'll probably come out to about right here, somewhere out into here, and hope. And by the way, this dark spot right there, that's also a dent that I didn't see. There's a dent right here that I didn't know was there. That's another good reason for using that dark primer, because when you block over stuff, it just shows immediately. You can see it in bare metal too. Just a lot harder to spot if you don't have the experience to do it. So anyway, now I got to come back and I'm going to wipe. Like I said, I'm going to skim coat from here to about to here, all the way down, and then I'll sand it and I'll block it in. Alright, let's see if we can work this down. The bigger block you got, like this block is perfect for this. That'll let you get the straightest, the best chance at getting it straight. A little short block, like this one, or even one shorter, you can go over here and stand in the middle and still have the edges, dipped in on you. So this is the best chance you got. Long blocks, Anyway, I'm just roughing it in now. And I'm already starting to cut through right there, so I'm gonna try to ease off of that spot for now. And I'm working on feathering the back. And of course, the top, which you really can't see, working on feathering that too. I'm already cutting through right here. You can't see that, but I am. So I gotta start being careful. I'm cutting through at the front a little bit also. So you can see the dark spot in the middle here. That's still low, but that doesn't mean this isn't high yet either. I'm still working all this down. You can do as much of this work with one hand, feeling it in your eyes. Once you know what to look for, you can see that dark spot right there. So I'm sure you can. That's a low spot. So I'm working across the low spot. You know, both of these hopefully are high. They bring down into the low. So I just keep standing crisscrossing across that area. Again, keeping an eye on my front. I don't want to undercut this either. Look the back some more. I'm starting to feather in the back. See how let me pan the camera around some. You can see how it's starting to work down. Still got this dark line though. It's not feathered yet, but it's getting there. That's starting to feel really good. Keep my crisscross actually going. Now we're getting feathered in there good now. You can see the cross hatch really starting to show up, and the dark line area like is going away. That's feathering really nice. Just about need to stop. So let me keep working this front area right here. Alright, so we're feather edge. You can see how the nice feathered strokes here, the cross hatching. You know, it's not a blunt line. It's feathered all in up through here, and of course you got to feel your way through it too. You got to feel it. You got to see it. That's feathered really, really well, as opposed to see how this edge just is kind of a line. It's not really a line, but it's not. It's hard to explain. I can definitely feel the dip right here. It's got a dip all the way. This whole area right here's got a dip in it. It's got to be feathered out, you know, on back to over here somewhere. Whereas this one, you know, as I say, it's hard to explain. You gotta do it. You gotta get in here and do it. You gotta have the experience. You gotta feel it with your hands. You gotta, you know, all that good stuff. That's feather edging. Very important. You gotta learn the feather edge. Now when I prime this, I'll prime all the way across. The primer surfacer will fill up my, you know, sand scratches and so on and so on. This spot right here is low. That wound up being a little bit low again, but I'll fix that off camera, and that's that. Okay. Here's a prime example of what I want to show about feather edging. See this line right here? We're low right here. Not only can I see it, I can feel it. I can actually feel the ridge right here of the filler where it's still low from here to about here. So it feathered up through here. stopped feathering and feathered again right here. So right here is still a low spot where it hasn't feathered out. That's the stuff you've got to fix. If I did not fix that when I body work this and paint it, I'd wind up having a butthole right here. So that's feather edging. That's feather edging good, feather edging not. 101. That's a perfect example of it. So I'm glad this side wound up doing that so I could show them side by side. Now back to it. Anybody that uses a block and gets some practice can get filler flat. I mean, it does take practice, but that's what the block is made for. It's almost idiot proof. If you sand with it right and use the right technique, you're going to get your filler pretty flat. You got to make a few mistakes, I'll admit it. But the more mistakes you make, the better you get at it. You know, and the main thing now, next step is to prime it and then block it. So anyway, that's feather edging in a nutshell. Hope I taught you something. Hope you learned something. Hope that was informative and not too boring. So anyway, I'm still trying to grow the channel. You know, if you like what you're seeing, you know, share it, tell your friends. Be sure to do all the YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe, notification bell, all that jazz. And I'll catch you on the flip side. Y'all come back now, you hear? Happy block sanding. Huh? What?